the next assignment we're going to do here in Fusion is this little desk. So kind of a bigger assembly. And kind of introducing you to the thought of things that are going to be done in steps. Because you're not going to take, so this thing has an angle iron frame around the top, and then some steel legs here. And if we're going to make this, we're not going to go in and lay out all 8 pieces of metal and start welding, right? How would you do that? So you've got angle iron here going around the top. So you've got a frame that's 2 pieces of angle iron here that are the same, and then 2 pieces of angle iron here that are the same, and then the legs. Would you probably lay out this first, the top piece first, weld that together, flip it upside down, put the legs on, weld the legs to it? So why not do the drawings that same way? So this is kind of a place where some companies like to just put everything that's welded together in one step. I like to break stuff up into steps, make it a little easier to understand for the person actually out there welding it. Do this first, then go and do this. It's a little bit more work on the CAD side and the drafting side, but it makes a better product. And so I'm going to show you guys how to do that today. And so in order to do that, we're going to have our components grouped up. So instead of just having one thing with a bunch of components, like we did on the roller, now we're going to have some groups, because those are kind of our steps. What's another word for a step you do before you get to the final step? So the final thing is called what? An assembly. What's a step before an assembly? A sub-assembly. So we're going to make a sub-assembly, and it's going to be another component. So you can see, instead of just being a square, it's a group of 3 squares. So it's a group of other components that are there. Does that make sense? So kind of at the beginning, I like to kind of draw it out. We're going to have our main thing here. This is the full assembly. In the full assembly, we're going to have the weldment, the kind of the weldment here, and we're going to have our top piece. And in the weldment, we're going to have the frame. So the frame is there. This is the weldment. This is the top. Within that frame, we've got those pieces. We've got the different pieces of the frame: 2 sides, 2 long sides, 2 short sides. And then kind of back out at the higher level, now we've got these 4 legs that are here. So they're kind of level 1 over here. Overall, so level 1 is that, and that's why I labeled them. Level 2 is that frame assembly and the legs, and level 3 is the stuff inside. Okay, so that's going to kind of be how we kind of structure it. And so if you just start making your pieces and trying to like, where does it go, it might get a little confusing. So I like to write this out, draw it out first ahead of time, and so you can go ahead and make all your components before you make anything. And so if I go into here, so don't say that. Get rid of all this. Kind of there's my list of stuff I want. And so I might also, before I even do that, let me go into show another way to kind of organize. So there's a lot of different ways to organize it. I'm going to show you another way. So using a spreadsheet is another easy way to do it. And so I'm going to have my full assembly there. And then I'm going to so the kind of like quantity, tell them how many pieces. So the full assembly, I'm going to have 1 full assembly. To make 1 piece of this thing, I need to have, within that, I need to have the weldment. So maybe call this the full weldment. And I need to have the top, right? And I need 1 of each of those. In order to make the full weldment, what do I need? No, I need this top frame, right? So I'm going to call that the top, or the angle frame. And I need one of those, right? What do I need to make the angle frame? So I need a long piece and a short piece, and I need 2 of each of those. Is this kind of starting to make sense? Yeah. And then what else do I need to make the full weldment besides the angle frame? Legs. I need legs. And how many do I need? 4 of those. So this is kind of another layout of it, of the steps. So in order to make the full assembly, I need the full weldment and the top. In order to make the full weldment, I need an angle frame and legs. In order to make the angle frame, I need these 2 pieces.
Weldment, is that you meant this is weldment?
Yeah. So this would be an angle frame weldment. Yeah, it's just, they say weldment instead of saying an assembly. But it's a weldment is an assembly. Just it's not bolt together, it's welded. Okay? So this is the same structure as this here. Does that make sense? Yeah. Jose, are you paying attention? Okay. So I could go in and just start making parts and hopefully try and structure them and put them in correctly. That might work, it might not work. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and create the structure here. And actually, these parts, the individual components, I could probably bring those in from master, right? Or at least one of them. But I want to get the overall thing right. And so my main file up here, this is going to be my full assembly. Whatever my name of the file is, that's my full assembly. So I don't need to start this list until this level, because this is just my main thing, my file. So I need to start making components at this level and down. So I'm just going to go over here under Assemble and say New Component. And I'm going to turn off Activate because I don't want to activate it and go and use it right now. I just want to name it. So I'm going to call this Main Weldment. And on mine, I'd put the 1s just so I could kind of keep track of the numbers. So I'm just going to do that again. So there, and I'm going to say OK. So it makes that. So now I need to make my top also. So I'm going to do a new component. I'm going to call it top. Make sure the parent is this top piece and say OK. So I've got my main weldment, my top. Oops. I'm going to call that 1 also. All right, does that make sense? So I've got that first level right here done. The full weldment, my top. Now I need to make, underneath the full weldment, I need to have components for the frame, angle frame, and I need a leg, right? And so I'm going to make, so I'm just going to pick on that one, go to new component, and so my parent is going to be that one I just picked. If I didn't pick it, I can just pick on it here. So I want this new component to go underneath that one, and I'm going to call it angle frame. Now I'm going to call it 2. There. See, now it's going to stack that one underneath. Does that make sense? Yeah. So now I have 2 ways to do it. If I'm going to just draw my pieces individually, I can make components for them. If I want to bring stuff in from, say, McMaster, I want to make, I'm bringing that new component in underneath this component, right? So I'm going to turn this on. So I'm going to go over here and see the little button here, and I click on that. So that makes this one the active component. So now if I go to master, and you notice, did I tell you how big to make this thing? What does that mean? It's up to you. You could make this a big conference table, or you could make it a coffee table, or a side table. I don't care. As long as you make it angle iron frame on the top, vertical legs, and a wood top inside of it, that's all I care about. So you can make these round legs, you can make them rectangle legs, square legs, whatever. You can make this whatever size angle iron you want. I don't care. You're doing the same thing, but figure out what you want to do, okay? And so that's the other part of it is you have to figure out what size do I want to make this. So when should you figure that out?
When planning it.
Yeah, before you start doing this. So maybe if you do this, maybe you have a material, and now you can kind of list out what each of these things is going to be. So maybe my top, I want to be 3/4 ply. That's a good tabletop thickness. Usually tops of tables are 3/4, 1.25 inch, something like that. And then maybe my legs, I want them to be 2x2 by 0.6 or something like that. And then my angle iron, maybe I want it to be kind of smaller, so I want it to be, oh, if my top is only 3/4, I probably don't want my angle iron going up more than the side of it. So maybe I'll just keep that at, so 3/4 by 3/4. Something like that. Do I need to put a size here for the angle frame weldment? Probably because of how big I want the whole thing to be. So maybe I should do that somewhere else or here. But maybe I want this thing to be 48 by 30. Right? So if that's the size of the outside of the frame, what size is the tabletop going to be? And then say there. So the angle, this angle is 3/4 by 3/4 by 0.6. I think there's angle that size. Of course, you want to go back sure and make double check. But if that's, well, I want my outside dimensions of the frame here to be 48 by 30. And I got this angle iron. What size is this top going to be?
3/4.
46 is probably too small. Because I want it to be sitting on top of the L. So if I look at that top, I've got 2 L's here, right? And let's just make it thick.
46.5.
And so I want my tabletop to be somewhere in there, right? It has to sit on that bottom L, but it can't be wider than that top L.
46.5 by 28.5. I think.
Really?
Sure.
That's going to make it fall between the L's. If I subtract 3/4 on each side, make it 1.5 inches, it's just going to fall through the hole, right?
Wall thickness of the
Yeah, just the wall thickness. So the thickness of the angle iron here is how wide? 0.06. And so I need a thickness here and a thickness there, so 1/8 of an inch, right? So it needs to be 47 7/8. That's going to be really tight. So maybe 47 3/4. Give it another 1/16 of space on each side also to have some wiggle room. Because wood, what happens to wood? Does it stay the same size all the time? What makes it change size? Moisture, right? Does steel stay the same size all the time? What makes steel change size? Temperature. Does temperature and moisture always change together? No. So giving a little bit of space there so they can move is probably a good thing. Okay? And so this is going to be kind of your time to figure out how it's going to fit together. What and go together. And if you make the number and it's the wrong number, are you dead? Do you have to start all over? No, you just go in and change one of the numbers, right? You put it together, you see, oh, they overlap some. Just go in and edit that part and make it smaller. It's not the rule. That's why we use the software, so that way you can kind of come up with an idea, put it together, and we're like, oh, this fits good, or oh, this doesn't work at all. I need to fix this. Okay. So let's go back over here, and so I want to put in. Since now I know what size my legs are, I'm going to drop those in right here. So I'm going to go in and pick square tube. I'm going to do, easy to weld, 4130. And I want it to be 2 inches And oh, it is 0.65. So is 0.65 a 16th of an inch? It's close.
Not quite.
But it's a 16th is what? 0.625. So twice of this is in an eighth. It's a little bit over an eighth. So that's why get close with it, and then we can go with it. So, and I want these legs to be, I'm just going to call them 2 feet long. What format do I pick?
SAT.
Yeah, SAT. Hit download. Uh-oh. That's a rectangle tube. That's not what I wanted. Somehow I missed that. It's another reason this view here sometimes, I see that these are all, this type is all rectangle tube, even though I told I wanted square. So I'm going to go back one. That's rectangle. I want square tubes. All right, I'm going to go back in here. Raw materials. Metals. So this is where sometimes it's better to go into the actual website and look stuff up first rather than trying to do it as you're going through. So still. Apparently, McMaster doesn't have square tube. They only do square rectangle tube. Oh, there we go. So, but 2 by 2, and I want 0.65. There we go. So square tubes are inside rectangle tubes here, but there's no 2-foot piece now. So I'm going to say a 3-foot piece. Download it. There. I want this to be 2 feet long. What do I do? Yeah, so just do it extrude, or grab that, -12. Cut. There we go. And so, it put that in that new component underneath the one that I had activated. So now I can just go in, edit my properties, and I want to call this my leg, and the description is 2 by 2 by 0.065 square tube. And there we go. So if you're bringing in components, you can just do that. There. Now I can go into here, activate this, insert master car. And I wanted 3/4 by 3/4. I should do that. And now you can see it stuck that under the angle frame. Okay? And it kind of grayed out this other stuff that's not part of the active components I'm working on. Okay? Does that kind of make sense? Yes.
There's going to be 4 sides of the angle tubes. I mean the angle thingy, so then you're basically gonna like join them together.
Yep, so I'm gonna take this piece here, I'm gonna extrude, pick there, new component. So I need 2 different pieces of that, right? So now I have one long piece, short piece. And now I can do my chamfers on them. So, so I want to turn off this tangent chain because I don't want to chamfer all the way up and down, right? So I want to turn off tangent chains, so I can just pick that little vertical piece right there. Now I can go over. And how big do I want to make this chamfer?
0.75.
However wide my thing is, right? So my piece is 0.75, make 0.7. Don't just drag it until it stops and say, oh, it's too good. Because right now it's at 0.7. It's not going to give me a sharp miter corner, right? Just make sure you type in the same thickness as your part is. A little trick is if you zoom in more, it'll let you do it. Because how much it kind of moves per kind of click when you drag it depends on how far you're zoomed in. If you're zoomed out, it does like every half inch. If you're zoomed in a little bit, then it's every 10th. If you zoom in a little bit more, 50 thou. So the closer you're zoomed in, the smaller those little snaps are.
I didn't realize that correlation.
So get that one. Maybe turn off this one over here. So that way I can move in here, hold control, grab that one. I can turn that one on. Hold control. Oop. Turn that one off. Hold control. Grab that one.
So those are two different pieces since you did the
Uh-huh.
controlling, correct?
Hold control, grab that one. And so just by kind of turning them on and off, now I'm doing all 4 of my chamfers at once. And now we just need to mate together, right? So I copy those. So I'm gonna take this one, copy, create a copy, drag it over there, grab that one, move and copy, create a copy, drag it over there, and why is my thing all, there we go. So I've got those, now I just need to mate them together. So mate, it's a joint. Again, kind of figure out how you want it to do it. So you either come in here or go on this line. So maybe I want that bottom corner there. And I want the bottom corner on that edge there. Uh-oh. Flip it. And I picked the wrong thing.
It was pointing down.
Yeah, I should probably ground one of those things too, right? I should probably, maybe that long one, maybe I should ground that one. Now when I do the joint, turn it so I can actually see what I'm doing. And now I can go in. That's why I like being on the face. Click the face first, tell it where to go. There, click the face first, tell it there. And it lines up perfect. Okay? One extra click sometimes is worth it. That way you know exactly which one you're going. You're not sure like which way I'm turning. You're like, I want to be on this face. I want this face to touch this face. And then you can tell where on the faces to match up. Okay? Does that make sense? And then just keep going through. Same thing, copy your, and then once you're done with this one, you can go back up, activate this one, copy your leg and put it back in, and then start putting it together. Uh-oh. I want that corner of the leg out there. But there's no corner there, and there's no corner there. Like if I want this leg to fit there, I want this to fit into there, right? There's no corner of the leg for me to line up. And then also this edge doesn't go all the way to the bottom for me to go to. Uh-oh. I can't project from the joint. I can put it there and just move it down. Was there another way to make a new place to grab onto for the joint?
Yes.
What's that called?
Joint origin.
So if I do a simple joint origin, so I have a few options. I can just do a simple one. I can do it between two faces. I can do it 2 edges intersection. Will that work? So so if for here, are there 2 edges that intersect somewhere out here? Is there an edge right here that intersects out there? No. What about that edge and that edge? Do those intersect at the corner? Yeah. So let me go there, pick that edge and that edge. Is that going the right direction? Probably want it facing down, right? So I can just go to reorientate and then just pick something going in the right direction. So I'm just going to pick anything that's facing the way I want to face. So now I've got a little thing there going down. Say okay. And now here, same thing. Assemble, join origin, two edges, boom to boom. And is it facing the right direction? Yep. So I say okay. So now when I assemble those, I can just pick that join origin and tell it to go to that one. Flip it around, rotate it, and there we go. Okay. And you can see that in that leg, I have a folder now called join origin. So that join origin is going to stay with that leg. I probably might have to make a new one for each of the four corners on the frame. But that's a pretty easy thing to do. But that lets us move things with a little bit more control. Okay. Any questions? So, and since we're not going to be doing the SolidWorks stuff, this is going to continue through next week. Okay. And next week I'll put the stuff for Onshape just so you can kind of get and see another way to do it. Because Mr. Lopes over there, he really likes Onshape. That's what he uses. I like Fusion a little bit more, but there are times that I want to do stuff in Onshape. Like if I'm out somewhere where I don't have a computer in front of me, I can do some basic Onshape stuff on my phone. It's not as easy as a keyboard and a mouse, but it works. And especially for just raw like sketches, it's pretty good. It's the best phone-based thing that I've used. And it's a lot better than drawing on it with my finger and just an image. So, any questions on any of that? Yep.
Yeah, so the top, when we do the material, it's going to be wood.
Yep.
Gotcha.
Yep. Pick kind of wood, pine, oak, whatever.
I just
Probably pine is probably not a good choice, but plywood is like just straight plywood is usually some kind of a softwood. You probably want to pick a hardwood, so oak, maple, hardwood ply, something like that. That's furniture quality. But for this assignment, I don't care. And you can even bevel the edge or whatever you want on it. That's fine. I'll do another video showing how to make the drawing from it.
The wood
Okay.
looks like it's got little piece like these little pebbles and kind of.
Yeah, I think on my thing. Yeah, I had a little chamfer there.
Yes, chamfer.
So, but you can do that however you want. You can do a chamfer, you can do a fillet. Usually you don't want a sharp edge on the top of the desk. Usually you want something there. If you want to keep it simple, you can keep it simple. If you want to challenge yourself, you can do something a little bit more decorative. So it's up to you, okay? Any questions? All right.